Hello and welcome to the series breakdown versus the Dodgers. So this is right after Game 3 um, of that. We have a lot to talk about with this one, but we'll start out with that. Game 1, we got Robuski versus Henderson. Contreras gets us on the board nice and early with a 3-run homer. Great to see that or whatever. And then Sal will continue that with a sac fly. Left, got 4 runs in the first inning against Robleski, made him really labor in that game. I think he'd still go he still went 5 innings or whatever. But you get yourself a nice lead and going forward there. Henderson kind of behind the plate. I think if I remember correctly, it's like Henderson was going pretty good for a while there. So much and so forth. Lineup didn't do a whole lot after that first inning. It's like, yeah, I know second inning, Vaughn scored Contreras off of a double. So, but that would be the only scoring that the Brewers would have the entire first game. Ohtani, I think it was the seventh inning that I think was Ashby, or was it Drohan? Drohan would get would get into trouble or whatever, and Ohtani got a sac fly or whatever. Overall, game 1 went well because the results went well, but there was times in that game where I was just like, we are giving the Dodgers too many opportunities to hurt us, and as a result of that, I think there was a few innings there where Henderson had, I can't remember if it was bases loaded or there was a couple guys on base or whatever, threw a couple hits. And it's like he only allowed the 2 hits, 3 walks, 7 strikeouts. So that's a good one, because it was like, I oftentimes say when you're facing the Dodgers, you can't give them more opportunities. You can't hand them opportunities to hurt you and stuff like that. You're going to hear me say that a lot in these next couple games here. So overall, good game. Well fought one from the pitching standards. Henderson gets his second win of the year off of a pretty good start. What was it, through like first 10 starts in the majors, he's like allowed no more than 2 earned runs in every one of his starts. That's good. Drohan comes out, Ashby, and then Judd Patrick ends up getting a save on that, so it's kind of interesting. I think it's just because of the position he came into the 8th inning for, and then finished out the 9th. So otherwise, it is technically, I was like, it's not technically a save situation, but I think it's when he came in. I don't really know the whole thing about that. Remember Rengifo having a really rough game, I think, at the plate, as well as he got a hit in the game, I guess, but it's like, I know he had, I think it was a couple errors on that game. Oh yeah, it was just the one. It was one he was definitely, there was like 1 or 2 others where he probably, I think it got credited as a single, but probably should have been an error. It was a rough game for him. So yeah, I mean, that's game 1. It's like, thing is like, you made Robleski really work the first inning, but he still worked 5 because you kind of just like weren't really fighting at the after that. So I don't know. It's like, you look afterwards or whatever. It's like this Greaves or whatever. It worked 2 innings, 1 hit, 1 walk. That's it. And Hernandez worked a perfect 8th, basically. I guess Dodgers bullpen doing what it's supposed to do. In that case, so yeah, game 1 went well. Game 2, not so much. Gas are on the bump. He's just like Terang puts us on the board early, but and then it was like we get runs. Like, we got 3 runs in the first inning, from, it's like Terang doubled, Vaughn, had got on via throwing error from Sasaki. It was, too far down the line, I guess, for Freeman to get to, because you'd have to go through Vaughn at that point. So it was just not going to happen. And then Frelick just singled on a center ball. It's like, ball we had And the thing is like, especially with that first inning against Sasaki, it was like to get for that third out, Sanchez got thrown out at third base. He had thrown 38 pitches in that inning or whatever. Get him out. Like, it was like, and I think that we can all say this as well, is just like the Brewers, you don't mind their aggressiveness. Murph's always kind of like, oh, we don't mind the aggressiveness or whatever. But Sanchez does not need to be taking third on that one. He really does not. And it's just like that, I feel like was a turning point in this game or whatever. It's like, had Frelick not, like, he just got on a single, Sanchez would have stayed at second. Ortiz would have came up and, maybe he would have gotten out. He would have just got out in there. I think that's very reasonable to think that he would have. But you can't bail out Sasaki like that. Like, you just got to keep piling it on. It's like you have to make him work his way out of that, and rather than just handing him the third out and getting out of that first inning. That's my main takeaway from this game. Because after that, it was all downhill. Sasaki settled in, went 5 again after really laboring again in the first inning. This is a common trend for these 3 games here. So he still worked pretty well or whatever. Really settled in after that. It was a very close game for a while there. It was the 4th inning. It's just, again, Gasser just could not locate, could not find the strike zone or whatever. And you're handing guys free walks or whatever, and you're giving them opportunities to beat you. You can't have that. In the 4th inning, they took advantage of it. Pages doubled or whatever, and then Teoscar homers off of a foul pole. I didn't think it was that bad of a pitch. Definitely caught a bit more than he wanted to. And the fact is, he threw the same 3 pitches 3 times. Like, you threw the same pitch to him 3 times. He can't do that. Like, I don't know. It's just like, he's just like, you gotta throw him something else. You gotta keep him off that thing, because if he's thinking like, oh, well, you'll never go back there, and it's like, but he does, and he just saw it, so of course he's gonna hit it hard, and that's what happened. And I mean, the rest was history. Even though it was only a 1-run game, it really felt like at no point were the Brewers really in it after that. Sasaki settled in, and then after that, it's like the Dodgers bullpen. It was one of the most frustrating nights. It's just like, I don't want to say it, but it felt like we went back to the playoff series against Dodgers where we floundered. We stopped playing, our game. We stopped playing Brewers baseball, and it's like we can't have that. You can't be doing that. You got to stay back. It's like, be aggressive, not too aggressive. Just swing at the pitch that's not in the zone. It's like when we're swinging at pitches that are like eye level with us, with the guys. Like, what are we doing? Churio struck out like that. Turang struck out like that a couple times. And I'm sitting going, just like, these are pitches that both those guys have taken from any other pitchers. I just can't help but think that the Dodgers flustered the Brewers so much so that they just stopped playing their game. Basically, they started playing like every other team in the league, and as a result of that, they made us look like fucking fools, and it was super frustrating to watch. Or whatever, and it's just like, you handed out 11 walks. 11 walks. That's way, 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 way too many. Freeman, like, literally the only guy in the Dodgers lineup that day that didn't walk was Betts, who went 0 for 6. Like, what are we doing? You can't give him opportunities. You can't let him do it, or whatever. I'm not even going to go on like that or whatever, because it was like, it's the 8th they scored 3, the 9th they scored 4, and it was dead time basically. It was just like after those like, after Hall basically got hit up a little bit, it was just like, all right, Woodford, just get us to the goal line or whatever. So it doesn't even matter. Not a huge amount of times to, a huge amount of opportunities to, score guys in scoring position or whatever. It's like, and again, past the first inning, didn't do a whole lot. I really just can't I can't tell because it feels like basically that the Brewers are just pressing too hard. After the Oscars 3-run homer in the fourth, felt like the Brewers were pressing. They were trying to make something happen rather than let the ball come to them. May or may not be true. Only the players really know. But in the end, for me as an outside perspective, watching that game was just frustrating. It just reminded me too much of that playoff series. I was hoping to put that behind us, but it's like I don't know. And Game 3 didn't go much better either. It's like, again, Brewers got on the board early from a ground ball that was like going to be tough to turn two. Luckily, Sal beat it out and put us up 1-0. But after that, it was like Sproat. It's like he worked a good amount of innings, but again, he ran into the fourth. It was like he got through the fourth inning after wild pitch or whatever. After a while, yeah, it's like after a wild pitch or whatever, and it's like to Ohtani, and I'm sitting here going just like, and the batter before that, you hit Rojas. You cannot face Ohtani with the bases loaded when you have Miguel Rojas and with the ability to get out of the line, out of the inning. You just can't. So after that, and then he proceeds to go in the fifth to walk two more guys, and then like Kyle Tucker hit a triple again. So like that, and then it's just like, and then Pages would homer right after that, and it was just like it felt over. It felt over, like it really did. Like the Brewers, every time we had a threat, we'd ground into a double play. You can't be having that. Yamamoto, I was convinced, was going to go a complete game because of just like, and he's just like, again, just watching the game. We're watching pitches down the middle and swinging at, we're swinging at like things we're not going to do anything with. Like, what are we doing? What is all this like lack of plate discipline? What is it with the Dodgers is that the Brewers just forget how to be the Brewers and stuff like that. I don't know. It's just such a frustrating 3 games. It's like, it's baseball. You put it behind you in reality, but it's like, man. You can't. As a fan, it sucks to watch. As a player, I'm sure it's frustrating in and of itself. But like, and again, just too many walks. It's like, yeah, there's only 6 in this game, but it's like also I'm pretty sure Sproat hit at least 1. I wasn't watching the whole game, but it's just like you're hitting guys or whatever. Drohan did his best to kind of make up for Sproat or whatever, but it's like in the end he was the one who, yeah, the 2 of the 5 runs or whatever get put onto Sproat, but it's like Drohan just came in, wasn't really all that sharp. It's like I would have much rather have seen like, I don't know, Ashby come in there or something. Well, who did he come in and face again? It was Tucker, right? Yeah. I mean, lefty. I don't know. Drohan's still a lefty. That's a big spot to put to put a guy like that into, though. I would have rather seen like Ashby, but I understand. It's only 5th inning, so can't blame Murph for going for Drohan, thinking that we'll save Ashby for, I don't know, another time. I would have liked a bit more of a high end relief, but I mean that's kind of how. I don't know. This is why I'm not paid the big bucks. This is why I'm not paid. Murph is paid or whatever. Do this or whatever. It's just after that 4th inning, it was just like, yeah, 5th inning, it was just like, yeah, it's over. It's done. Brewers played like it, and in the 9th inning, is like, Murph's pinch hitting, Bauer, like getting Bauer the lineup, pinch hitting him for Renifo, and Mitchell's getting taken out for Perkins or whatever because it was a lefty on the mound with Tanner Scott. And I'm like, the Dodgers are still putting in their big arms or whatever to win this game, but that we're not gonna do that or whatever. It was like I was counting before I started recording this or whatever. I was looking at the amount of walks that the Brewers issued in this series. You had 6 in game 1, 11 in game 2, and another 6 in game 3. So that is what? It's 23 walks. 23 walks and a couple I think at least one hit by pitch from the Rojas, but I'm pretty sure there might be another one in there. But either way, that's like 24, 25 free passes to a team whose lineup is up and down will kill you. And I was like, I know you can look at the bottom of the order with Miguel Rojas, Espinal because Max Muncy didn't play or whatever, or that what was it, that other second baseman that they have? That was the Heesam Kim, I think is what his name is. It's like they'll still hurt you. They will. You can't give them opportunities. It's like the same thing. It's like when other teams look at like guys like Ortiz or Hamilton and stuff like that. It's like they had, even though they're not likely, they could still do it. Type thing. So it's like I don't know. And it's like when you look at this lineup, those are the only guys that you are confident that you could probably get out. Because like from Ohtani all the way down to Teoscar Hernandez, they're all tough. That's how it is. So it is a pretty complete lineup when you really look at it and stuff like that. So it's like you just can't. It's so many walks, and partially why the Brewers were really struggling, especially early on in the season, was because they were walking so many guys. Walks continue to be an issue, and they lost games as a result of that. And that's kind of just what happened here with the Dodgers. It's just like you let them hang around. You gave them free passes. You gave them opportunities. They capitalized, and that's it. The fact is, what is this? Game 2? It's like you were 2 of 4 with runners in scoring position. Only 4 opportunities with runners in scoring position is not great. It's like that was game 1. It was like game 2, 2 for 7, and then the last game was you were 0 for 4. Yeah, because it was a fielder's choice for Sal. You're not coming up with the opportunities. You're not coming up with the opportunities to hit with runners in scoring position, but then you're also not coming through with runners in scoring position. It's just like, really what happened? I don't know. It's just the Dodgers dodgered, man. I don't know what it is. Like, that's just kind of what it is. Dodgers came in, reminded, all of us, who they are, pretty much. It's like, this wasn't a sweep or anything. It's like, yeah, the Brewers still won one of the 3 games, which is good, or whatever. And I'm not, and it's just like, oh yeah, this is a tough team. Losing 2 is fine, and in essence, it is fine. But it's the way you lost these 2. I think which really infuriates me. Had you played, like, I don't know, better, basically. Like, had I felt like you were into the game at any point during, today's game, Sunday's game, that's what I'm recording this on. After that 5th inning, it was just like, I felt the game was over. Once they scored 4, I knew the game was over. You can't have that. Like, it's just like, usually against any opponent, the Brewers have done a great job of potentially coming back and winning. I've never felt that with the Dodgers because they weren't putting together at bats that told me they were. And every time that there was, hope or whatever, we got a couple guys on base. It was like, oh, Yamamoto's just gonna throw a splitter, and then we just hit into a ground ball double play. Like, it's like we had 2 in game 3 with Trang and Vaughn or whatever. Double play. I was like Ortiz, Trang, Vaughn. Yeah. Just like you had 2 in game 2. And then it was like, it was like, yeah, the fielding error. Wasn't there another? And it's like, then Vaughn grounded into another double play. Can't be having that. Can't be doing that. It's like, yeah, I know double plays happen. It's not even all that much. But the fact is that, like, 2 in 2 games is quite a bit. And you just can't help the Dodgers. Can't help the Dodgers. Overall, I mean, like, it's the ongoing concern, I feel like, for the Brewers. It's like, yes, we didn't have our best pitching in this series or whatever. It's like you had Gasser, who unfortunately got sent down from after game 2. Can't say I'm too surprised. He doesn't. I don't know if it's like lack of confidence. I don't know if it's lack of confidence in his stuff or whatever, or if it's just like he's just having control issues. I don't know. It's just like he doesn't feel he's ready for the majors. Not like some of these other guys. Like, obviously, I wasn't expecting, Crow or whatever. And it's a lot to, go up against this Dodgers team or whatever. It's like it's a very intimidating lineup. But you can't be intimidated though. That's the number one thing that was annoying to me about this series. It was just like, Murph, players will always talk about how it's like, oh, we're not intimidated by any team or anything like that. And it's like, you can't really say that after this series. Like, it's like, yeah, game 1, you felt like you were in it because you had a lead. You had a lead and you were able to keep it. Had the other direction happened, maybe then we would have had, a different talk or whatever. It's like, yeah, game 1 you left 9, like the Dodgers left 9 on base. We're over 7 with runners in scoring position. You're not going to get that from the Dodgers too often. You can't give them opportunities. They had double the amount of opportunities with runners in scoring position than the Brewers had, who went 2 for 4 in that game. And all those hits came in the first inning. Dodgers pitching did what Dodgers pitching does. In the end, they came in, they did. They got the business done. I'm going to take this as a personal note or whatever. And I think the Brewers should as well. Looking at this and going like, yeah, that series against Dodgers wasn't great type thing. We won game 1. That's great. That's great. We felt confident going into it already because with a game 1 win. Then after that, like, just really struggled. Now, had we had a 3-run lead or whatever, and like Miz or Harrison was on the mound over Gasser, would I have felt differently about the series and maybe would have gone the other way? Yeah. Realistically, yes. Or whatever. But we can't say that because we have to. This is the regular season. You have to have reliable 4th, 5th starters. 4th, 5th starters, and like Gasser just unfortunately just didn't give it to us and give us that or whatever. And it's just like, and like even today with Sprout, it's just like we need more from you, Sprout. It's just, it feels like whenever Sprout hits that 4th inning, I mean, he worked through that 4th inning or whatever, but once he hits that 5th inning, I think it's just the 3rd time through the lineup. He struggles. I don't know if it's just him. Because we saw this very similar to Miz last year with Mizrowski. It was like he would lose his command, or he would maybe try and reach back and throw harder. Sometimes I think that's what Sprout kind of does or whatever. I think that's what ended up hitting why he hit Rojas or whatever. Just trying too hard to work a part of the thing or whatever. Like, again, this is all observations or whatever from a fan. Take it as you will, type thing. But for me, it's like it seems like whenever the 3rd time through the lineup kind of happens for Sprout in his few starts that I've seen, or whatever, and it's partially, it's just that he tries to mix in his secondary, third, tertiary pitches rather than just kind of relying on what he had done the whole thing. Well, sometimes it doesn't always work. Guys adjust to it type thing. It all comes down to mixing pitches and trusting the guy behind the plate with like Contreras and stuff like that. It's like you gotta trust him because he's such a good job at working pitchers through this through this and stuff like that. So it's like you have to sit there, rely on Contreras, rely on Sanchez to kind of get you there because they're gonna get you there. You just gotta throw the pitch. Just throw the pitch. Try not to be, don't try and reach back more over there. Just continue to do your thing. Your thing, and then if Contreras is noticing, they're lunging out on the fastball a little bit more. Maybe I should work a bit more of the off-speed stuff in, but then also still keep the cutter or like the four-seamer in the back of their mind by throwing it every so often. It just comes down to mixing pitches. Easier said than done. I'm not a pitcher. I'm not going to pretend to be a major league pitcher. I'm not even going to pretend to know how I'm talking about necessarily. This is just like, this is whenever I talk about this stuff, I was like, I always just want to just preference it by saying that I am not a professional. I am not a coach. I am a huge baseball fan that has been watching Brewers baseball for nearly 15 years of my life. So, like, I've watched enough baseball to kind of know it's like, what really struggles is like, well, what made Mizrowski that much more? It just kind of feels like he's up there. He's not trying to mix in his slider a bit more, mixing his fastball in a bit more. He's got a bit more command of his pitches this year than he does last year. And just kind of just stays locked in or whatever. And it's like, well, Sproat's also locked in and stuff like that. And I'm like, yes, he is. But there's a difference between locking in and trying to overthrow it or overdo it, basically because you're like worried about giving up contact. And a difference where it was like, locked in to the point where like that, because Yamamoto was locked in after giving up that first inning run. It was like the first inning run or second runs, pretty much. It was just like he locked in. He did. He locked in, and because that is what aces do. It was like the one run. I'm looking at game 2. I was looking at game 2. It's like he locked in. He didn't really allow many hits or whatever. It's like, yeah, he gave up 7 hits or whatever, but every time he seemed to get into trouble, he worked a double play. And just was working efficiently and stuff like that. And it's like, sometimes I think with Sprout and, Gasser was the same way too, where it was just like, you're trying too hard to fake out, like, yes, these are good hitters or whatever, but sometimes you just got to come at them. Like, Yamamoto knows it all too well, especially with this team. I have to imagine it's the scouting report that the Dodgers have, and I'd have to believe that most teams kind of have against the Brewers, because I feel like whenever the Brewers do struggle, it's because they're taking out too many pitches and stuff like that. And while it's like, well, you want to see less pitches? I'm like, no, I want them to see more pitches, but I want them to take good hacks. It's like, I want them to take good swings at pitches that are in the zone, and if they come early in the count, then I think they should take those hacks. Type thing. It's like, I think guys like Contreras and Churio know that pretty much better than the majority of the lineup. It's like, yeah, Turang takes some early hacks or whatever, but even he will take the first pitch often unless he really gets a good read of it. But it's just like, it just kind of felt like that this series, especially games 2 and 3, or even as every game went on or whatever, it's like, yeah, the Brewers scored early, but then I don't think they ever scored past the 3rd inning of any game. Yeah, it's like you got 4 in the first or whatever in game 1, and then 1 in the second, and then game 2 you got 3 in the first and 1 in the second. They never scored past the 2nd inning. You're not going to beat the Dodgers without scoring in later innings. It's like, by the time that Yamamoto, Sasaki, Robleski sees these guys 2nd, 3rd times, I'm like, we should start having an understanding of how this guy's pitching us or how this guy's seeing us and stuff like that. And they just weren't doing it. I don't know. It's just like weird. Swinging out of your pants or whatever, pitch is way too high. Just stunk. Really did. Really did. Other than Contreras' 3-run jack in the beginning, that's the only home run that the Brewers hit, which is not that crazy. I mean, the Brewers are not power hitters, which in essence is probably going to be, like I've talked about, maybe not on this podcast, but I was like on this series, I guess, is that like lack of power is concerning. last year showed that sometimes it can be concerning or whatever. And it's like we got bats like Churio and Vaughn back, and that's great and all. But it's like we gotta start hitting some dingers and stuff like that. Like I'm not saying we need to, like I'm not saying the Brewers even need to change their ways that they're doing it or whatever. That's fine. I think how they play or whatever's fine. But I feel like sometimes we live too much in the ground play, and what will end up happening is what happened in Game 3 when every time we needed something to go right to find a hole, we never were able to. So you gotta get a little lift on the ball. Yamamoto's a ground ball pitcher, so you can't. I don't know. Like every time you face him, you can't just like say, "Oh, well, that's it. We lost now that we gave up all these runs." Can't do that. Got to stay in it. You got to stay with it. That's what the Brewers have done so well all year, all in these past couple of years, especially. And it just feels like they didn't just do it in this series. It's disheartening to watch this team kind of just not so much fall apart, but just kind of lose its confidence. Because again, what happened during the Dodgers playoff series last year? It's like they just lost their confidence. They lost who they were in essence, and just kind of let them, get beat down, whatever. You can't do that. Got to stick with it. You got to stay aggressive. You got to keep your heads up and believe that you're in it. And it just kind of felt like after that fourth run, after that fifth inning, it was like, yep, game's over. I don't know. That's Dodgers series. Dodgers are tough. The best team in baseball for a reason. You got star power or whatever. In essence, it's like we had opportunities. Maybe if Miz or Harrison pitches, things end up differently, especially in Game 2. Game 3 probably ends up the same way just because the offense didn't do anything. I would have loved to take 2 out of 3 here, but 1 out of 2 or 1 out of 3, it's fine. Could have used a third, could have used a second, but it is what it is. That's baseball. Got to move on. Got a game tomorrow. Tomorrow you start a series against the Cardinals at home. So just don't let the losses get down on you, and just pick yourself up and let's get the Cardinals, all right? So game 1, we got Mizrowski versus Liberatore. That'll be a fun one for the Labor Day game. I mean, assuming Miz can just do what he's done the entirety of the year, great. So Cardinals are currently in second place after a 3-game sweep by the Astros to the Cubs, as the Cubs are now in third place. Whatever. Cardinals are now in second place. I think they got rained out today, didn't they, though? I feel like they did. I think I saw they got rained out today. Yeah. Yep. Yeah. Cards-Reds finale postponed. They're going to make it up in August, so that's fine. I know the Brewers also have to make up a game with the Cardinals later on in the year as well. So, yeah. Game 1, obviously, Mizrowski versus Liberatore. Just keep Miz and then just get the offense going again. Just the thing with this Dodger series is that this is a confidence killer. Like these 2 losses are just kind of feel like a confidence killer. And it's your job right now as the Brewers and Miz, basically, and I think and I would think that they would know it as well, is just like, let's just get back on track. Dodger series, enigma. Didn't happen. Type thing or whatever. So it's like, just move on. That's baseball. You gotta just put it behind you. So is that. So yep, we got Mizrowski, and then we got Harrison versus McCreevy in game 2. Be a fun one. As neither team has really seen either of these guys. Really funny. Because I'm like looking at this as like, oh yeah, we missed McCreevy the first time we faced the Cardinals. Whatever. When neither team has any at-bats versus them, which is kind of funny. And then for the third game will be Dustin May versus to be determined for the Brewers. With them sending down Gasser, it kind of is an odd spot for what they're going to do. considering they called up Carlos Rodriguez today, and then he finished out today's game against Dodgers. I'd have to think that he'll probably get sent down for either somebody, whether that means, we could see Priester potentially, or if potentially Woodruff is coming back on that day, or maybe we just make it a bullpen day and then just have like Patrick or Drohan or I don't know, somebody basically call. I don't know, just start a game, and then and you have like a couple guys, and that might just come down to how much the bullpen's has been taxed in this series, and how much where the series is at too. It's like, if you can take game 1 and game 2 versus with Mizrowski and Harrison, I wouldn't be, and especially if you don't use a lot of bullpen, it's like you could definitely see Murph making it a bullpen day, considering you'd have the next day off after that. So yep. So we'll see where they have there, but Dustin May, I always forget he's on the Cardinals. Oh man, what are Dustin May's numbers? I see he has he's 3-5 with a 5 ERA and 10 starts, 54 innings, 42 strikeouts to 17 walks, 60 hits though. That's in the last 15 games. Whatever, but like, I guess that would be all of his starts though. So a whip of 143. Ooh. Great. 30 earned runs and 60 hits. Jesus. I didn't realize that. Yeah, that explains why you have a 5 ERA. So, yeah. That should be interesting, though. So the Cardinals, obviously, this is a big series for both teams, obviously. If the Cardinals can take 2 out of 3 against the Brewers, then they will be at the top of the division as of right now. Right now, the Brewers are still a game and a half or half game up. Game and a half technically, because of like all the makeup games and stuff like that. So, yep. Big thing that we need to do for this Cardinal series is just get the offense back in order. Let's stop swinging out of our pants. Stop swinging at high pitches. Just get back to playing, our brand of baseball or whatever type thing. It's like you got your ace on the mound with Miz, you got your second ace on the mound with Harrison, and just put some runs on the board for him. Let's get him. It's like Liberatore is the lefty to start off. So my guess is that whether that means Bowers will be in the game, Yelich will be in the game. Yelich didn't actually play game 3, which is, I assume, was just probably a day off. I'm gonna hope it was just a day off, because it was like I think Bowers was DHing. Yeah. I did mention though, he had a walk, hit, strikeout. Yeah, that makes sense. Yep. So, I don't know. I feel like I've ranted enough about the Dodger series in general, so I don't want to go too hard on it or whatever type thing. It's just like, you just got to put it behind you. Really, what it comes down to. Wow, Yelich has a lot of success against Liberatore. I was just looking at their past success against the probable starter for that day. It's like Liberatore. Yelich has a 571 and 1,142 OPS against Liberatore. So he's kind of hit him despite him being a lefty. So 7 at-bats. Trang doesn't have a single hit against him. Yeesh. So, yep. I wondered, we did see Liberatore on the last time we were with the Cardinals, against the Cardinals, so that will be something. Overall, I mean, Dodger series could have went better, but put it behind you. Focus on the Cardinals. That's the keys. Keys are as the keys are. It's like Mizrowski's going to get us there. I have faith that Miz is going to get us there. We just got to follow his lead. And Harrison's going to do the same thing. If we can win both the Mizrowski and Harrison day, whether or not we win game 3 will just be a bonus, whatever. And especially like if we do make it a bullpen, because I feel like a lot of the guys in the bullpen haven't really worked a lot or whatever. It's like you got Drohan and Chad Patrick and Ashby and stuff like that. It's like McGill and Uribe haven't not pitched a ton over the past couple weeks. So, because I'm like, even in the game we did win, like neither one of them pitched. Drohan, Ashby and Patrick. Game 2 was Anderson, Hall, and Woodford. And then game 3 was Drohan, Carlos Rodriguez. So again, didn't see Uribe or McGill in that series versus the Dodgers. So my guess is they're definitely going to work at least game 1. No, maybe game 2. I mean, really depends on what the score is for game 1, but I have to think at least game 2 they're going to pitch at least an inning. Because can't sit those guys too much, otherwise they just get out of sync. Can't have that. So, yeah. So, thank y'all so much for watching this little breakdown of the Brewers and Dodgers series. It's fine. Dodgers are tough. They're a tough team. They're going to be fine. You didn't get swept, so you take that as the positive. Take that as a positive. You still won a lot of games or whatever, and some teams are really scuffling in the division or whatever. It's like Cardinals in the last 10 are 5-5. The Cubs, I think, are on like a 7-game losing streak right now. So looks like the Cincinnati's about half and half, and Pittsburgh's 4-6. So like still in first place in the division, still doing fine. Still early in the season. I'm not really worried about the divisional standings right now, but you want to stay up there. So enough of my rambling, though. Thank y'all again so much for watching. I will be back after the Cardinals series. I believe that they have a day off on Thursday, so I'll probably try and post that then and there. Because that's 27th. I believe the game after that won't be till Friday then. And then we got Friday, we got the Astros. At Astros. Fun. So, yeah. I'll see y'all then. Thank y'all so much for watching. Let's go get them Cardinals.